And welcome to Talking Preps. We're joined by Fayetteville head football coach and the defending 7A state champions in Fayetteville, Casey Dick. Coach, that's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
It's not bad, although we're moving on to this year, so we're trying to keep it rolling.
Yes, indeed. Well, a big one this week. It's the Mascot Media Game of the Week, Fayetteville at Bentonville. What jumps out at you when you look at the film of Bentonville?
They're a very solid football team, just as they are every single year. Coach Grant and his staff do a great job of really preparing their kids week in and week out. I think when you look at them, they're very sound on defense. They got their defensive line does a great job of trying to hold line of scrimmage and doing a great job of limiting the amount of rushing yards that teams and things are able to get going. Then on offense, they're kind of your traditional Bentonville offense, which tries to run the ball and then go play action and take some deep shots off of that stuff and give you some multiple formations from tight ends to empty to all those different things that they do on a weekly basis in order to challenge your kids. So, both teams will have to be ready to go play discipline. And like we've talked to them all week, the biggest thing that we're going to have to make sure that we do is get lined up and then go play assignment-driven football.
I was going to say, as you talk to your team this week, what is the message you give them as you? It's a big game and emotions always get high,
Yeah.
but what is the message to your team this week?
We've talked about containing their emotions. I think it's big in these games like this. For the first 5 minutes of really, it's not weathering the storm, but it's being able to play. Everybody's emotions for the first 5 minutes are going to be really high. So it's able to contain those emotions at a level to where you can go play football but still use them at your advantage. So there is a difference between having too much emotion and not being able to function, but also being able to have some emotion, be able to go out there, have great energy, and have fun. And really, the message that we've had and we've discussed with our kids all week is having great synergy. From offense to defense to special teams, really driving that from each phase of the game, from special teams to offense to defense, and playing complementary football. It's just really big in these games, and having big plays that will happen on offense and defense and special teams ultimately as well. But we know we've got to play together and play as 11. Once all of us get out there on the football field.
Well, it's been a good season so far for the Bulldogs, 5-1. Your non-conference schedule was quite loaded. You went 2-1 through that. You're 3-0 now in the conference. How has your team improved from week one until now?
I think that we've handled adversity pretty well. I think if you look at that schedule, you look at Cabot, and we had to handle a rain delay. You look at Broken Arrow, we had to handle the first half where our defense played lights out and offense, we figured it out in the second half and we scored 30, whatever, however many points in about 14 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Texas High, I thought, was probably against one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the state of Texas. I thought our kids played their hardest. Unbelievable effort. I was proud of the way that they played, the way they never gave up. How we finished that could have been a little bit different from that standpoint. But obviously, you can use that as a learning situation as well. Sometimes we need to learn from our mistakes and learn, how to move forward on those. And ultimately, that game is going to help us get better. That's what I told our kids as we move throughout the year. That non-conference schedule is going to help us, as we get through there. Then we play a Bentonville West team who's a well-coached, fundamentally sound team. And we were able to put together what I thought was our most complete game up to that point when you look at it from an offense and defensive standpoint. And then, Rogers, who I think is a great football team. Coach Harb does a great job of preparing those kids. And, their quarterback, Jeff, and the wide receiver, Braxton, and their offensive line do a great job of really mixing some things up with the quarterback run game, keeping you off balance with a bunch of different formations. And then when you look at Northside, they came out last week in the absence of Garrett, gave us something different on defense that they haven't shown. And, we didn't necessarily respond the way that we should have. And like I told our kids, we're going to, number one, we'll be better for it. And we should have done a better job, as a staff of making sure that excuse me, that we have everybody, prepared and where we want them. And, I thought Cruz, as the game went on, he played better. But, you look back at that game too, and you say, okay, well, what did we do well? I thought obviously our defense played unbelievable with the playing north side, allowing 7 points. I thought our special teams was the best it's been since we've been here, having 3 block punts and then a kickoff return for a touchdown. So I think we've grown a lot just from different phases of adversity. I would say we're a mature team and know how to handle adversity and know that, obviously it's kind of like riding a wave, and we got to make sure that we're on top of that wave.
Everybody, when they talk about Fayetteville, always talks offense, but it seems to me your defense kind of gets overlooked, and your defense is outstanding. And you mentioned special teams last week. Talk a little bit about your defense because everybody always wants to talk Fayetteville offense, but the defense is pretty stout.
Yeah, we've got three of the best coordinators, in the state, and I think we're fortunate enough to have two of those on defense, and Coach Britt and Coach Davis, and they do an unbelievable job every week of preparing our kids from a scouting report to changing things to making sure we're keeping everybody, off balance, and really just building relationships with our kids to where we found out, okay, what do this group of kids do best? And I believe right now, Blair, that I don't know if we've found it 100%, which is a good thing. I'm encouraged by it because it means we're going to be late. It means we're going to be better later on in the year. I think we're on the right track and we're pretty close to really finding out who we are on that side of the ball with the multiple personnels that we have and in different situations that come up in the game. So, like I said, those guys do an unbelievable job week in and week out. Our kids have bought into the system and what it is and how we're going to go out and play each week, and they've played it. They play a great brand of football. That they're physical. They fly around. They get lined up, and they have a lot of fun while they do it.
You have a great staff, and you guys watch a lot of football during the week. Do you ever get a chance to watch any college or NFL games on the weekend, or is it just pretty much you focused in on the JV, the freshman, Monday, Thursday with junior high, and Friday with varsity? Do you get a chance to watch any other football, or do you
We
even
get a
want to
chance in
watch
there.
any other football?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question. Sometimes I want to watch football, but some of our wives probably don't want us to watch football. Uh, but we started something here probably 4 or 5 years ago now, probably where we don't work on Saturdays. I give our staff off. We have obviously huddle and things that we can do on the internet, which COVID kind of changed that obviously, and it's just something that we kept, and it was something that we tried kind of took a leap of faith, if you will, as far as giving everybody off on Saturday. And I think it's one of the best things we've done as a staff to kind of keep everybody energized. Is give them one full day off. The kids, everybody, allow kids to go be kids. They can go. They can go to a recruiting visit. They can go hunt or fish or whatever it is that they want to do on a weekend in order to kind of get away and reset a little bit. And I think it's one of the best things that we've done.
Awesome. What is the best thing about coaching high school football for you?
Oh, it's the relationships with kids. Every single day that I see 250 kids every day that are just the football players, obviously. But there's, when you walk in the school building and there's another, you take those kids away, so there's roughly probably 2,400 other kids in the school that we get to see and and be around. And it's really, I tell people all the time, it's the best job because when those kids enter as ninth grade or when you start to really have an impact on them in ninth grade is when they leave as seniors, the amount that they've grown, physically, mentally, how they've really developed into the person that they're leaving your program. It's really awesome to watch, and there's a lot of growth that takes place. And to the outside world, it may not look like a whole lot, but when you see them every single day, for 4 straight years, and the way that they grow, it's just awesome. And to really get that phone call or text message, or I tell people all the time, the way that we define it in our program is winning is when kids come back to our program. So it's big for us on homecoming or whatever home game we have. We now we have about, I think on homecoming last year we had 35 or 40 ex players show up and want to be on our sideline. So that reassures us and tells us we're doing a good job of our relationships with our kids and putting that as a priority first.
If it wasn't for coaching, what do you think you would be doing?
Oh, I was either going to be a game warden or be in the military. I had two different when I was coming out of high school. That was pretty much my dad gave me two options. He said, you figure it out as far as athletics and you go do something you want to do, or we're going to go to the military. And then when I was, in high school, I knew I either wanted to coach or be a game warden. So it's just kind of two passions I had. I love the outdoors. I love being out there. But obviously, I knew I wanted to coach, but just knew if coaching didn't work out, that was something I would enjoy doing. I'm not
Well,
much of a person that likes to sit around and just sit in a chair in an office all day.
I can imagine. Well, you're doing a phenomenal job as coach. Best of luck the rest of the season, and we appreciate the time.
So I appreciate you.